Hey everybody, it's Jackie back again with the American Heart Association. I am excited to be here for the second video to continue our conversation here at Perry Tipler Middle School and South Park Middle School on vaping. So we had left off talking about how your brain gets impacted through vaping, and that 1 Juul pod is equal to essentially an entire pack, 20 cigarettes worth of nicotine. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other health implications or the other ways that vaping kind of damages your body and messes with your body systems. So the first question today we have are e-cigarettes are safe, fact or fiction? And I hope we all get this one correct. E-cigarettes are safe, fact or fiction? Let's find out here. So of course fiction, or else I wouldn't be here chatting with you all. So we had talked again about how it affects your brain. It also affects your heart rate, blood pressure, increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, the narrowing of your arteries, which obviously can lead to a heart attack, the brain, and then recent reports of lung injury in people as young as 13. So these are all of, or most of the ingredients, again, that are in the vape product. And we talked about that it's not just really, it's not like water vapor or steam that's coming out of it, that there are other chemicals with it. So these are a lot of the chemicals. The main ingredient is propylene glycol. So when you inhale the vape, essentially the aerosol, right? So these are some of the chemicals that you are inhaling. Age 17 is the age of the youngest person killed from a vaping related illness. And then as we chatted just on a couple slides ago, age 13 is the youngest person diagnosed with a vaping related illness. So because vaping is really such a big epidemic, these numbers are really fluctuating and change so frequently. Because it is such a huge widespread problem here in the United States and globally. All right, up next we are going to watch a short video clip from CBS, and they had put together a story about a teen in Detroit, Michigan, who actually needed a double lung transplant because of his vaping related, his lungs just were not working properly anymore because of vaping. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this video.
In today's morning rounds, we're looking at the stark medical consequences of the vaping epidemic for one teenager. Surgeons at a Detroit hospital recently performed what's believed to be the first ever double lung transplant on a patient whose lungs were irreparably damaged due to vaping. The patient is just 17 years old. Doctors at Henry Ford Health System say he is slowly recovering. They're pleading with everyone to stop using e-cigarettes. Dean Reynolds has the story.
This is an evil that I haven't faced before.
In early October, this teenage athlete was transferred to the Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit after nearly a month of rapidly deteriorating health. His parents said he had been vaping.
Our teenage patient would have faced certain death if it weren't for the lung transplant.
Dr. Hassan Naimi said the teen's lungs were extremely scarred and inflamed and contained multiple spots of dead tissue. He was in such bad condition that he shot to the top of a national transplant list where most patients spend months waiting for a donor.
You had never seen lungs in that condition before?
I've seen lungs in bad conditions, but this is by far the worst. Essentially, the lungs were completely non-functional.
In before and after CAT scans released by the hospital, doctors point out that the patient's lungs look almost empty, with little room for oxygen. An image of the teen's post-transplant lungs showed darkened areas, lungs full of air.
The important thing to recognize is really that everybody that we list or we consider lung transplant for has no other medical options left in order to improve their health or even stay alive.
And that was true in this case?
That was absolutely true in this case, yes.
As of last week, more than 2,000 Americans have been sickened by vaping-related lung injuries. 39 deaths have been confirmed in 24 states and Washington, D.C.
Does it anger you? I mean, this is marketed as a healthy alternative to cigarettes.
I think it is really devastating. This is really so common in schools and amongst teenagers at this point that it's really important that we're emphasizing the health risk of this.
According to the CDC and the FDA, more than 5 million teens report having used e-cigarettes in the past 30 days, with nearly 1 million saying they vape daily.
Anybody who vapes in this day and age is taking the chance to sustain the same damage.
Are these lifelong effects on your lungs?
We're looking at the tip of the iceberg. We don't really understand the magnitude, but as physicians, as healthcare providers, we feel that we have a tsunami coming and we need to prevent it from hurting our people.
For CBS This Morning, Dean Reynolds, Detroit, Michigan.
Well, if that doesn't make you want to stop vaping,
Wow.
at least maybe make you think about it a little bit.
An evil we've never seen before.
That's
easily.
right. Very strong words.
So just as you heard, the fact is that the doctors really don't know the long-term effects yet of vaping because it is still fairly relatively new. And so that's why we at the American Heart Association have invested money to do research and really look at, what will the long-term effects be? Next question, companies only market cigarettes to adults as a way to quit smoking. Do you think that is true fact or fiction false? Companies only market e-cigarettes to adults as a way to quit smoking. Let's take a look. All right, it is fiction. So yes, that is one of the ways and one of the reasons that e-cigarette and vape companies do market. They, initially it came out that, oh, this might be a safer alternative. Now those statements are looking much different because the American Heart Association and other organizations have started to call out the big vape companies for their lies. The other portion is that they are definitely marketing to teens and to youth. The statistics are that 15 to 17-year-olds, so high school students, are 16 times more likely to use Juul as older groups are. And also they're targeting you obviously with the flavors. So mango and mint, I believe, are the most popular flavors among the youth. And just think about it. So if you start to become addicted at age like 13 or 14, and they would have you for so many more years versus, let's say, somebody who's 70 who's trying to quit cigarette smoking, who chooses to vape, they would have them as essentially a customer for such a shorter period of time than somebody who starts in their teen years. So young people today have the power to stop the vaping epidemic. Do you think this is fact or do you think this is fiction? Young people today have the power to stop the vaping epidemic. Let's find out. It's of course a fact. Most middle school or high school students, we had talked about 1 in 4 actually vape. So that means that 3 out of 4 do not. And so you really do have the power to fight back and to not start. We do have a couple of initiatives or challenges here that we'll talk about in the next video, but you do really have the chance to stop this vaping epidemic. All right, so that is it for today's video, or for this video, I should say. I will see you then in the next video, where we will talk and I'll share a testimonial video of 2 students actually from the Minneapolis area who did vape. So I will sign off for now, and then I will see you in the next video. So thanks so much.